Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Poem of the Day. I hope you are doing well. Today we're going to be reading The Call by Ellen June Wright. And here we go. The Call. The caregiver calls to tell me about Mother, but I know she hasn't slept. The security videos of her restless night populate my emails inbox. She turned and turned throughout the dark hours. I'm 16,000 miles away and helpless. In need of divine power, I decide to sing for an audience of one. As I begin, I hear my mother trying to follow, trying to pull at some tangled string of memory to release what once was. Music has charms to soothe a savage beast, as I was to soothe a savage breast, and maybe a failing mind. When I finish the second hymn, I ask, "What's your favorite?" She says, "The first thing to go was my memory." Is it possible to forget a lifetime of songs sung weekly? Some forget the name of their spouse, their children, where they live. So why not forget a beloved song? After, we think of our blessings, say them aloud. We still have much to be thankful for. Just when I think her mind is settled for now, or worn out by agitation, she's ready for more. I let her talk as we enter the second hour, until her words run out, until she's more the self I knew. That is The Call by Ellen June Wright. Now, I'm going to be honest, before I started recording, I did listen to Ellen do a live reading of her own poem, and she actually did it in Hackensack, New Jersey, so shout out New Jersey. So, after listening to this poem, immediately became apparent to me, and it's really nice to read it out loud. This is definitely a story about a daughter and a mother who is suffering from Alzheimer's, and it's a narrative. It's definitely a narrative poem. I don't. It's more like a freelance. I don't really see a rhyme scheme going on. The stanzas are broken up into kind of like a symmetrical pattern. The stanzas are definitely doing something. The way she organized the lines and everything, but other than that, it's a true blue narrative freelance poem, and the narrative is there's Ellen. I'm assuming this is autobiography. You never know, but I'm gonna go out on a leg and say it's Ellen, and her caregiver, her mom, is letting her know from 16,000 miles away. You know how she's doing, and then they get on the phone, they talk. But all of that is not important. I'm not really interested in that. Neither are you. I'm interested in the content of this poem. I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. You know, as I begin, I hear Mother trying to follow, trying to pull some tangled string of memory to release what once was. Ellen just sings for her mom. There's nothing else she can do. She just feels helpless, and she just decides to sing, looking for divine power. I don't know if that's hopelessness, where you have nothing left, with this person you've spent your entire life with who birthed you, and you're just like, I don't know what else to do other than sing for you. And I think that's not so much maybe it's not hopeless, but it really is just, I think people faced with tremendous hardship, I think the heart really shows when a person is placed under extreme stress. And I think that just says a lot about Ellen and her relationship with her mother who's suffering from Alzheimer's. You know, she just sings to her because that's the only thing she can think of doing. And I think that's such a strong sign of love she has for her mother. to be vulnerable and just express herself like that. And the only way she knows how, and just to, feeling so hopeless, I'm just going to sing for you. And that, singing in itself is such a beautiful, basic human thing to do. It's just really a nice poetic, you know, poetic justice going on. Um, and then they sing songs, and she asked her, "What was your favorite song? What was your favorite hymn?" And the first thing her mother says was "My Memory." And this raises a conscious thought for Ellen. Is it possible to forget a lifetime of songs sung weekly? Some forget the name of their spouse, their children, where they live. So why not forget a beloved song? So it's also upsetting to see how her mother suffers, because when asked this question, her mother just reflects on how she's lost her memory. And it's really like this is all taking place on the phone, and Ellen is having this conversation with her mom, and it must be really hard. The poem does it so well to put you in her shoes. The more you think about it, the more you, what's the word, emphasize with her, or sympathize, depending on who you are. It's just really hard to imagine being in that position. It is kind of hopeless in a way, because there's nothing you could do. I'm assuming it's Alzheimer's, forgetting your memory. I know there's dementia and other stuff. I don't know if those are umbrellas, excuse me, of the same disease. Excuse my medical knowledge. But it really is a heartbreaking poem, but at the same time it's also very human, because like I said, the only thing she can do in this really heartbreaking moment is just to sing to her. And I think it's really a showcase of her love for her mother too, because they go after singing, they talk about what they're thankful for, and then they just go on talking. I let her talk as we enter the second hour until her words run out, until she's more the self I knew. It's also a very committed relationship they have. So yeah, I think it's really out on the paper. There's not much hiding in this. It's very, you read it from top to bottom, and I just kind of gave like a annotated, off the rip analysis of this. So thank you for listening. I definitely recommend you read this on your own time. And this is the first poem I've read by Ellen. I definitely recommend you read more of her poetry, because this is a really strong poem, and just talking about it out loud makes me appreciate it way more, and listening to her really made me appreciate it as well. So, but thank you so much for listening. I hope you're having an awesome day, and until next time, keep it real.